The 10 athletes for the 2025 Rogue Invitational have been announced. And before we start, I just want to say that I was right. Mitchell Hooper is returning sooner than expected. And another thing that I want to say is my stance on the Rogue Invitational has still not changed. The last video that I did, it caused a bit of debate in the comments, let's say. People thinking that I was wrong, people agreeing with me, but that's the great thing about Strongman. We all have our opinions. Nobody is right, but we can discuss it like adults. And to all you adults out there, like me, that are just fans of Strongman, I want to say thank you to every single one of you that watch my videos. Every single one of you that has subscribed. I've gone from 50 subscribers all the way up to 130 in the space of about 3 weeks, which is massive for me, and I really do appreciate it. I'm going out of presenter mode now. I really do appreciate that. And to anyone that hasn't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, because I spend a lot of time and effort making these videos, and at the end of the day, I'm just a man that likes watching big, sweaty men lift big, concrete balls. And that's all we can hope for in life, to see that, to witness that, to enjoy it together. So please, subscribe to the channel, and now let's get into it. So like I said, there are 10 athletes. I'm going to go through each and every one individually, talk about them a little bit, talk about my thoughts, and then at the end, I'll give my overall thoughts on the lineup. And I will say quickly that the lineup is stacked. Starting off, then we have Tom Stoltman returning to the Rogue Invitational. He's a 3 times world's strongest man, of course. He has podiumed at every single big competition, but he's yet to win another major title outside of the world's strongest man. Now, I don't think Tom is a one-trick pony at all. I just think he peaks perfectly and suits the world's strongest man competition really well. People that say he's a one-trick pony don't really understand that the difficulty to win at least one major show is astronomical. To win more than one major show is just ridiculous. People like Thor, Brian, Big Z, Mitchell Hooper, there's only a few of them that you can name that have won multiple titles of multiple big shows. So to say that Tom just isn't very good and he's only good at World's Strongest Man, I think that's ridiculous. And you might disagree with me. That's absolutely fine. But he's our first athlete, and he did get injured at the Strongest Man on Earth, but in a recent video that he posted, he seems like he's going to try and get fit and be at the Rogue Invitational this year. The second athlete to talk about, who we have just mentioned a little bit, a bit of foreshadowing there, is Hathor Bjornsson. Now, all of these are invites. I don't believe any of them, apart from Mitch, I believe, have been confirmed for the show yet. The likelihood is all of them are going to accept the invitation, so we're just talking as if this will be the final lineup. So Hathor Bjornsson returning again. Did he get second last year, I believe? I believe he got second last year to Mitch. And if he's coming in shape after the deadlift, then I think he's a real threat for the title, because his pressing has certainly improved and his moving events are always pretty good. He's just such a big guy. If he drops a little bit of weight for this show, he'll have the time to do so. We don't know the events yet, but Hathor Bjornsson in any strongman show is always a threat for the title. Moving on then, and again, I've already spoke about him, it's Mitchell Hooper. Lawrence Charlet said in his video that Mitch has accepted the invitation to the Rogue Invitational, and he will be competing there, or at least that is the plan at the current moment in time. And watching Mitch's videos, this is what I spoke about in the video that I did beforehand, speaking about Mitch potentially returning to this show, is that the hunger is there. You can see that he wants to be competing, so I do not doubt that we will be seeing Mitchell Hooper at this show, attempting to retain his title for the 3rd year in a row now, is it? Or did he only win it the first time last year? No, I'm sure he won it the year, but yeah, he did win it the year before as well. Of course he did. He won it the year before when we had the bull pull. I remember now. I remember. So Mitchell Hooper returning, attempting to defend his title for the 3rd time in a row. Then we have the current World's Strongest Man, Reino now, and I am extremely excited about this one, because I said Reino Nell not being at the Strongest Man on Earth was a shame because he's a big name missing. And somebody says that Reino Nell isn't a big name. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but he is the current World's Strongest Man. If you're the current World's Strongest Man, regardless of what you've done elsewhere, you are a big name, you're a big pull at any show. To be able to put on your show, to be able to advertise it as having the world's strongest man at your show, that's going to attract more attention, more fans, more people will want to come, more people will want to watch. And from what I've seen of Reino now, he's an incredible all-round athlete. Maybe the top end strength isn't quite there yet, but at this sort of show, from what I'm assuming the events will be like, basing it off previous years, I think this show could really, really suit him. And it could really suit the next person I'm going to talk about, which is Paddy Haynes. I think Paddy being added to this show, I think I mentioned it in the last one that I did, I think it's the perfect show for Paddy Haynes. The Strongest Man on Earth probably wasn't. The Smo wasn't the show for Paddy Haynes. But the Rogue Invitational, like I say, based on previous years, based on the type of events we normally see, he could really do some damage here. Do I think he's going to be challenging the likes of Mitch, Tom, Thor, even Reino Nell for the title? I don't. I don't believe he will. But I do think he could be challenging for the podium. Next up then, we have the current Strongest Man on Earth. And no, I'm not just flipping the bird at you, as people say apparently. It's Evan Singleton, the T-Rex, fresh off his Strongest Man on Earth win. He will have the Giants Live World Deadlift Championships in literally like 2 days or something from when this comes out. So he might win there. If he does, that means he's on a 3-win streak, which is, granted, 2 of them being Giants Live shows, so they're not major titles, but they're still up against the top athletes in the world. I think Evan Singleton will have all the confidence in the world going into that show and then going into this show. I think he is a real threat for the title. Like, I've said that about every single person right now, apart from Paddy. Sorry, Paddy, I know you're probably not watching this, but I do apologise. If Evan brings the Evan that we saw at the Strongest Man on Earth to the Rogue Invitational, he really could, and we don't know the events, but he's a good all-round athlete. He hasn't got that many weaknesses. You'd say maybe his one weakness is his top-end pressing strength, but he hit a 200 log at the Strongest Man on Earth, which is a very good lift. He can compete with the likes, the sort of people that are in this show. You've got your Lucas, your Trey, and your Austin. We're going to come on to them in a minute. He can compete with the rest of the people in terms of pressing power, but your Lucas, your Trey, your Austin can't compete with him on the moving events, and Rogue tends to be more catered towards the moving events than medleys. So, yeah, I think we have to wait for the events, but Evan Singleton, in shape, full of confidence, keeping his head, it's definitely one to look out for. Then we have Tom Evans, who came 3rd place at the Strongest Man on Earth. Bit of a dark horse, I suppose you could say. I don't think anybody was talking about him being a potential for the podium, but he came out, he executed perfectly, and he wasn't far off winning. And to be honest, even on the commentary, you had Loz and then the other guy, I'm not sure, but they seemed to almost discount Tom Evans throughout the entire show. Even when he was in 3rd place with like 2-3 events to go, they were talking about the likes of Trey and Austin behind Evan Singleton. And I'm like, you're not talking about this guy. And he is literally right there. He is right. It reminds me, right? If you go and watch, what year is it? I want to say Sorry, guys. I want to say 2009, maybe? No. It's from 2009 to like 2013, I'm sure. That era. If you go watch, it's definitely one of those. If you go watch The World's Strongest Man, I'm pretty sure it's the American version of it on YouTube. Misha Koklayev is like 3rd, and they literally don't show him. They do not show him until the log press when he's going head to head with Zydrunas. And he's like coming 2nd and 3rd, and they just don't show him. And look, let's not get political, guys, but I'm pretty sure it's because he's Russian and it was America. I don't know. It's really, honestly, it's so weird. I will go find the show that I'm on about where him and Z go head to head on the wooden log for Max in the World's Strongest Man final. You don't see Misha for like the first 3 events. It's really strangely edited, and I don't know why. I don't want to get political, but if you ask me, it's an American production. He's a Russian athlete. That's what I'm going with. Anyway, where did I get to? Next athlete, Lucas Hatton. Lucas, second place at the Strongest Man on Earth. He watching his LAFP, Lucas and Alex's Front Porch podcast. He feels as though he lost the show. He didn't. Obviously, Evan won it, but he feels as though he could have won it, and he didn't. He didn't come second. What am I trying to say here? Basically, he's saying he left points out there, and he only lost the show by like 1 point or something. So he feels as though he should have won that show, but he didn't because of his own mistakes, not because of Evan's brilliance. And obviously, he says that Evan was a deserved winner. Like he's not saying that Evan didn't deserve to win the show. It's the same way that Evan said in his video that he felt he could have won World's Strongest Man this year. He says no disrespect to Rain O'Neill or anybody else. He feels that in the shape he was in with them events, he could have won. And Lucas feels as though with the events and the shape that he was in, he could have and should have won the Strongest Man on Earth. So it's interesting to see how he comes into the Rogue Invitational. I'd assume he's going to drop a little bit of body weight. I think he said it was at 380 pounds, which, what's that, 170-ish kilos, I'd imagine, which I believe he said is the heaviest he's been. For this type of show, I would assume he's going to drop some weight, come in a little bit lighter, a bit better for the moving events. And with the medleys and stuff, it's not the best show for Lucas, but he can definitely still challenge for the title, challenge for the podium. It is, like I say, dependent on the events, but he's good enough all round to challenge at any major show, in my opinion. Then we have the big thicket, Trey Mitchell, returning to the Rogue Invitational. Obviously wasn't invited last year. The year before, he tore his Achilles and he came back. Was his comeback show? I think his comeback show was the Strongest Man on Earth. I think it was, because then he did the World Deadlift Championships after that. It might have been the World's Strongest Man. It might have been, but he might not have made the final. But he definitely did the Strongest Man on Earth, looked good there. Then he did the World Deadlift Championships where he pulled 470. And now he's returning to here again, which is great. I'm really happy that they've invited him again. Obviously, after the injury, I don't think there's any bad blood there. Trey isn't doesn't see, I don't know him personally, doesn't seem like the sort of guy to hold a grudge. He understands that this is the sport of strongman. Injuries happen. So great to see Trey Mitchell back. I don't know how we will do at this show. Depends on the events, guys. Get in the comments. Drop depends on events in the comments, because I've said it about 100 times. Anyway, Trey Mitchell is coming to the Rogue Invitational. Last person, Austin Andrade. And I'm really glad that Austin's in. Him and Trey have been like so close in every single competition. So if Trey's in, I think Austin definitely deserves to be in. I think it's almost safe to say that he is top 10 in the world right now. And actually, guys, make sure you are subscribed, because I have a video dropping very soon about my top 10 strongmen in the world right now. And it's a bit of a banger, I must say. I've spent a lot of time on it, researching. People are going to disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. Like I've said, our opinions are there for a reason. We all have our own, but it's a great video and you're definitely going to enjoy it. So make sure you subscribe, because you do not want to miss it. Anyway, guys, those are the 10 athletes that are competing in the Rogue Invitational this year. And now we get on to what I said at the start in terms of I am basically doubling down on what I've said in a previous video. The issue with the Rogue Invitational, they've invited 10 people. That's absolutely fine, okay? The events, everything out the window. Forget about that. I'm not bothered about that right now. This applies to the Arnolds as well. 10 athlete lineup isn't enough to find the strongest man. It just isn't. If we look at the Strongest Man on Earth, the last show, major show to happen before the Rogue Invitational, Bryce Johnson finished 5th, I believe, tied points with Trey Mitchell, I'm pretty sure. Then we had the likes of Andre Foitu, who was right in the mix as well. He should definitely be included in a lineup to find who is the strongest person. You have the likes of, I'm just a big fan of him, and when he's on form, I think he's an incredible strongman. Jaco Schoonwinkel, he could be in with a shout of being there. You have the likes of Pavlo Cordiaca, who this show really suits him. He might not have had the greatest results over the past sort of year or two, but this sort of show is more suited towards him. And then somebody like Tristan Hoth, who again I think really impressed at the Strongest Man on Earth, and I think he deserves an invite to this show. But the problem is, the 10 guys who are invited to this show all deserve an invite. So you can't say that they don't. And they probably deserve it a little bit more than those other 5 people that I've mentioned. But what I'm saying is, it shouldn't only be 10 athletes. There should be 12, 13, 14, 15 athletes, in my opinion. I think that every single major strongman show now should have at least 15 athletes. Because, granted, do I think Andre Feuchter is going to win this show? No, I don't. But for somebody, let's say, like Austin Andrade, who is potentially the 3rd best presser out of the 10 in the Rogue Invitational lineup, if you add in somebody like Andre Feuchter, then that's another person who can get in between. Him being, so far ahead of the other guys in terms of pressing. I know I'm doing a lot of this with my hands, but what I'm saying is they can shake up the points and it can make a huge difference to the overall outcome. With only 10 athletes, your weaknesses aren't shown as much and your strengths don't matter as much. Consistency will always win, in my opinion. Consistency will always win. We've seen it with the likes of Thor winning like so many events, but still finishing second to Mitch, because Mitch just comes in the top 3 of every single event. If you have more athletes in a show like this, it means the ability to get in the top 3 then becomes more difficult. The amount of points that you can gain back on somebody is higher. The amount of points that you can lose on somebody is higher. It just makes for a better competition. But look, that's all I'm going to say on the situation. I'm excited for it. I still don't think it should be considered a major show just yet. I just think there's certain things that need to be improved upon for me and for a lot of people, I think, to consider it a major title. Either way, I'm extremely excited. I hope you are as well. Get in the comments and let me know what you think of every single athlete that's been invited. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 10K, and I'll see you in the next one.